Welcome back. We're Weekend Football. I'm Michael.
I'm Leith.
And I'm Ross.
So last week we did the Sky Games again and BT Sport. Let's not forget BT Sport. We did Arsenal Man City. Can you guys remember what you predicted?
I think we started by saying it may well be a draw and the draw's most likely, but in the end we went off and thought that City would win it.
I think we went City 2-1 win, didn't we?
We did.
So you and Ross and Leith went 1-2 and I went 1-1.
Yeah, all right. I knew you'd
So
get that in.
we're doing a nice little point scoring from now on, as soon as someone performed amazingly this week.
Well, now you're ahead. Let's start counting, shall we?
We do 1 point for a correct result and 2 points for a correct score.
Okay. Let's do it.
So I went 1-1, so I get 1 point. Liverpool Villa. We all thought that Liverpool would win.
We knew that Villa
I think
were
the
the
whole
bogey
country
team.
thought Liverpool would win,
Yeah.
and they lost.
Mhm.
So no
Makes
point
sense.
No
for that.
problem.
United.
What did we all go?
We went.
Liverpool too strong for Villa, even though Villa are their bogey
Yeah.
team at Anfield, and they did it again.
Me and you went 3-1,
Yeah.
and then Leith, you went 2-0. So United QPR. We all said United to win. I went 1-0. Ross, you went 2-0.
Yeah.
Leith, you went 2-0.
I went 2-0, but I was at the game, and at the game I predicted 4-0, and I had a bet on it. And that was after seeing the lineup, though, so we recorded 4 days earlier.
Yeah. So we all got a point for that.
Fair enough.
Hull West Ham. I went 0-0. Ross, you went 2-1.
2-1, yeah.
And then Leith, you went 1-1.
The start of this was we were going for the home win, and then we changed it during the week as we got news in to change it to a draw, I believe.
No, we
we did. We changed it to 1-1.
Draw, and then might have done later in the week.
No, it started off as 2-1,
Changed a
and
few
we changed
times,
it later in the week to 1-1.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Well, as the scores are, I'm on 3, Leith, you're on 2, and Ross, you're on 1.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay. Let's see
Now
what
that-
happens this week.
Now to the competition we went to on the weekend. Leith, describe it for us.
The competition winners had a fantastic time. Had a day out at Old Trafford. We had Jason there and his mate Jamil, and we had Andy and Liam, and we had a great day. And we had another couple of guests. It was great fun. I think United are back with their new look team. Very different looking United from the Swansea match that we watched. I think United fans will be very happy this week.
Sounds good. Glad everyone had a good time. So for today's games, the weekend's games, we've got QPR versus Stoke, West Ham versus Liverpool, Leicester versus Man United, and Man City versus Chelsea.
Big one.
So we'll start with the 12:45 kickoff, which is on BT Sport on Saturday. We've got QPR versus Stoke. Where do you think that will go, Leith?
I think there won't be a lot of goals in that game by some chance. When you look at the scores from the 4 matches of the season from both teams, QPR have scored 1 goal in their first 4 games, conceded 9, 3 losses, 1 victory. And Stoke have won 1, drawn 1, lost 2, scored 2 goals and conceded 3. So they haven't scored more than 1 goal between them in the first 4 games of the season. Stoke surprised City, of course.
But then lost to Leicester.
And then lost at home to Leicester. So I think Stoke's defence is pretty strong, and they frustrated City. City had 16 shots, 7. Stoke had 7, only 2 on target from both City and Stoke. So I think that shows how well Stoke defended in that game, that City didn't really get any accurate shots on target, or not many, considering they had 16 attempts. QPR at home, but they're not really scoring, are they? I think there's going to be a very low-scoring game, and it'll probably end up a draw, maybe double blank.
Ross?
Yeah, QPR just look like they're leaking a lot of goals at the moment. That's 8 goals in their last 2 games, scoring none in return. None of their games this season have involved both teams to score. They've either scored themselves and kept a clean sheet, or not scored at all. So that's a market I'd tend to stay clear of. Stoke, yeah, look like they're about to kick on and then just seem inconsistent at the moment. They've got actually averaged the third highest amount of shots per game with 16.3, but have only netted twice this season. However, they have been both away from home. But yeah, I can't pick a winner on this one. I could see it ending up as a draw.
So Stoke did a double over QPR when they were in the Premiership 2 seasons ago. Would that be any factor at all?
I don't think so. No, I think
No.
things have moved on now.
QPR, they've both got largely different teams, really, haven't they? So
They have. Watching them on QPR on Sunday, I'm not sure they entered the United half many times, but they did have 2 shots on target. But I just don't see where the goals are coming from, which is why I'll probably go for quite a low scoring 0-0.
0-0. Ross, where do you think? Score prediction?
Yeah, I could see a 1-1 draw, but I think a good bet would be the under 2.5 goals market, as I think they're both struggling for goals. And yeah, you can get the best odds for the under 2.5 goals at Ladbrokes.
I'm going to go 1-1 as well. Echo that.
So draw all round then.
Draw
Draw
round. Not the most entertaining game of the weekend, let's put it that way. The next game is the 5:30 p.m. kickoff, which is on Sky Sports. We've got West Ham versus Liverpool. It's usually a high-scoring game, especially at West Ham. Leith, where do you think that's going to go?
Well, I think Liverpool are going to bounce back from their defeat against Villa at home, and I think they will get back to winning ways, and Sterling will be starting, I would hope, having seen him perform for England. And I think they'll win this game quite comfortably. We did forecast West Ham would get a draw last night, which they did against Hull, and they did all right, but I just think that Liverpool have got too much for West Ham. And stats-wise, West Ham have beaten Liverpool once in the last 11 head-to-heads, and I think twice in the last 22, so it seems that West Ham are beating Liverpool once every 11 head-to-head.
Yeah, the last time they won was February 2011, and the 4 times that they've beaten them in the 26 games, it's been at the Bowling Ground / Upton Park.
Yeah, I think Liverpool's defeat against Villa came as a bit of a shock, but you could just tell they were missing Sterling and Sturridge. Didn't really get the decision to leave Sterling out, to be honest, especially when Sturridge was already injured. It'd be their first test after Champions League football. Obviously, they have a midweek game this week, so that may have a bearing on the result. But yeah, I can see Liverpool getting the win on this one. I think they'll be too strong for West Ham.
I don't think they've got too tough of opposition midweek, so I don't think that might be the bigger factor in this. I think they'll just dominate the game, I think.
Goes through the Champions League game. I mean, West Ham, their signings did okay against Hull. I think they impressed, especially Valencia with that quality
great goal
as well. Yeah, but they've conceded 7 goals in 4 games, West Ham, so they're still leaking goals. And the Liverpool's last 9 away games has actually included over 2.5 goals. So I think Liverpool should knock up a few against West Ham.
And West Ham have only won 2 of the last 10 league games, so they're not in the mood of winning really at the minute. Liverpool do need to get back into winning ways, and they probably will.
Yeah, I think it's quite an obvious game, isn't it? It's Liverpool are going to be too strong. West Ham are going to falter. I think score prediction for me, it's going to be 1-3.
I'm going to agree with that.
I'll make it 3.
There you go. Put your money on correct score.
Yep. So on to our weird story of the week. I've got 2 for you.
Ooh.
I've got one that come from the Telegraph, which I really can't understand, but here goes. Fabrizio Colacini is a contender to be Newcastle manager if Mike Ashley sacks Alan Pardew.
No, you're not the only one.
If you can't see this,
understand that.
The reason behind this article was because when Alan Pardew was suspended last season, he delivered halftime team talks.
He's the
Strong
captain,
journalism there.
Surely he's the captain. He should be doing that.
Yeah.
What happened to Steve? I thought Brucey was on his way there. No, I'm not wrong.
Apparently, it's disrespectful to talk about the job.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the other part is a bit of stats for you. So we've got Aston Villa have accumulated more points than shots on target
This season.
this season. But then you've got in the Bundesliga, Hamburg have fired more coaches this season than they have scored league goals.
Wow.
Good stats.
How many is that?
Well, they've signed.
More.
Yeah, I think they've sacked one coach, and I don't think they've scored a goal.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds likely, doesn't it?
Those facts might not be concrete, so do not quote me. So our Sunday game, which is at 1:30, is Leicester City versus Manchester United.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, but Leicester have won 1, drawn 2, and lost 1. So in their opening 4 games, and that loss was to Chelsea as well.
And United have also got the same form, don't they?
I think so.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, lost
1-1,
one.
drawn 2, lost 1.
So how does it feel
yeah.
to be on the same form as Leicester City?
Feels great.
Yeah,
Why
Leicester
not?
doing well.
Leicester did really well. And in fact, a week ago, we were talking about this match and we were talking about a draw
Yeah.
before we saw United play QPR with their new look team.
But I think United, when they get it right, they get it right. But when they get it wrong, they get it wrong.
We've been getting it wrong for a whole season, so
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah, I think people may have got a bit, maybe not too excited about the QPR game, but maybe too much has been sort of read into it. But I think you will see an improvement in United's form now. People keep going on about their defence struggling, but they've still only conceded 3 goals, which is basically the second best joint with a load of other teams. But 3 goals out of 4 games is not too bad. So they're
and they've scored
okay
6,
there.
so a 6-3 goal ratio, isn't bad. But unfortunately, they've only won one of those 4.
Yeah.
But what they do have, which they didn't have a few weeks ago, is confidence. So watching them on Sunday, it was interesting seeing the effect Maria had. Blind and Herrera had a good game. Blind just looked so comfortable, like he'd been there for 5 years, and the whole team were playing with confidence. Even Rojo, who looked a bit wobbly at first, gained confidence in the second half that he didn't have in the first half, and I can just see that United will look very different from this point forward.
I just think they're too inconsistent. I mean, 3 or 4 times last season under David Moyes, you won 4-0, and that was the consensus that you're going to kick on from there, and it just...
Yeah,
it's
I
just
agree.
too
Last
inconsistent.
season, there was always talk about kicking on. It never really happened. But this year, United do have the best possession stats and passing accuracy in the league. I think they may just have a bit too much quality for Leicester going forward. Although Leicester are a different opposition at home, I think the King Power Stadium will become a bit of a fortress for them this year. They've already got a draw off Arsenal and Everton there, so it won't be easy for United. But I can see United just having a bit too much for them.
I think it also depends who they play as well. I mean, I think Van Persie and Rooney will play better now. They've got better delivery and confidence in themselves and the players around them. Falcao comes on. He only got a little snippet on Sunday, but if he comes on, he could score 1 or 2 easily himself, and I could see they might win it by maybe 3-1. I can see Leicester scoring.
Yeah, I can definitely see Leicester scoring. For a score prediction, I'd go 2-1 United.
Well, I'm going to contest both of you.
There's a surprise.
And say 1-0 to Leicester.
Oh.
I think it'll be the showing that Man United fans will not expect.
Are you going to put money on it?
Maybe.
No
Maybe.
confidence.
Maybe.
£100.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what my bank account looks like in a week or 2.
Yeah, 3-1 to United, I say.
1-0.
2-1.
So we've got our 4 p.m. game, which is on Sky. We've got Manchester City versus Chelsea, which could be arguably the best game of the season so far. So Chelsea, the last team with a 100% record in the Premier League. Ross, where do you think that will go?
Yeah, probably the biggest game this season so far. I just think they cancel each other out, as the top teams often do. I think Mourinho won't want to lose. City can't really afford to lose it. They're already 5 points behind Chelsea. So I just get the feeling Mourinho is set up to stifle City and will be quite happy coming away with a point. And City, yeah, as I said, can't afford to lose it. So I think they would settle for a point as well. So I can see this one heading towards a draw.
Well, Chelsea did the double over City last season. Leith, do you think that's a big factor?
No, I don't think that's relevant. I think what's relevant is what's happening now. And I think Chelsea had the best defensive record last season, probably at home, along with Arsenal. But overall, they had the tightest defence. This season, although they've scored a lot of goals, they've scored, 15 goals? They've conceded 6 in the first 4 games. Quite a few of those were in the Everton game, half of them. But City will be will be flinching from their defeat, recent defeat, and I can see them getting a point there.
Well, Diego Costa is the man for me. I think will make the difference. 91% of his shots were on target. So he's had 14 shots on target. 91% of those are
It's
on.
not bad, is it?
Yeah.
And then he scored 7. So half of his shots go in.
Pretty good. I think Chelsea have got the highest shots per game as well in the league. I think they average about 20 shots per game, and they've scored 15 goals, highest in the league again. So
But then
yeah, they seem to be okay going forward.
they are. But take a look at City's defence. You know, they've only conceded four. They've scored 7, conceded 4, and last season they didn't do too badly. I think it'll be really, really tight, and I can see it ending 2-2.
Yeah, I can just see both sides happy to settle for a point. So I think a draw is the way to go on this one.
I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea. I think they've perfected their lineup, in my opinion. Last season it was a bit, they'll park the bus if they can't win, but I think this season they're going for it.
Yeah, I think they will expand a bit more. See if they can get at City. I just think it head towards a draw. I think 1-1.
So to round off the podcast, we've got some bets that we'd like to share to go with the Sky games. So QPR Stoke. Laith, what's your favourite bet from that game?
My favourite bet the safest bet would have to be under 2.5 goals. I might even be tempted to go under 1.5 to get longer odds. I think that's where I'd have to go. I might even go for the 0-0 ball draw, money back Bet365 if it does happen. So yeah, maybe even go for correct score. You might get 5-1, something like 11-2.
Just to add there, the best price for under 2.5 goals would be at Ladbrokes. So Ross.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I was going to go for, under 2.5 goals at Ladbrokes. QPR haven't scored in their last 2, and Stoke have only scored twice all season. So yeah, I think under 2.5 goals looks like a safe bet on this one.
Okay, so West Ham Liverpool. Laith.
West Ham Liverpool, I'd be tempted to go for a correct score here. And I really fancy 3-1. I haven't looked at prices yet, but if you have a little look to see where you can get your best returns, it'd probably be Bet Victor at the minute. I'd go correct score or safer bet, both teams to score with Liverpool to win away.
Yep, the best price for that is Bet365. So Ross, where are you going to go?
Yeah, well, there have been over 2.5 goals in Liverpool's last 9 away games, so I can't look past that really. So over 2.5 goals, you can get best odds of that at Bet Victor.
So Leicester, Manchester United.
Again, I can see Leicester scoring here, but I do believe United will win this. So over 2.5 goals or both teams to score away.
What about you, Ross?
Yeah, I can see Leicester being really up for it in front of their home crowd, and I do think they'll score. So I quite like the look of the half-time, full-time market. Leicester at half-time and then United to win at full-time. You can get best odds of that at Bet Victor or Ladbrokes around 25-1.
I've also gone for that market, but to back up my claim that Leicester will beat Manchester United, I've gone for first half draw, second half Leicester. You get that at 14-1 at Bet365.
Good luck with that one.
And finally, Manchester City, Chelsea.
I can't separate them, so the only bet I would do on that match, if I was doing a single, would be a straight draw. Because it could be 0-0, but probably not. 1-1 or 2-2.
I've gone for BTTS. Best price of that, Bet365.
Yeah, I just can't separate them either. So I can see both teams scoring, but I can just see it being a 1-1 draw. So BTTS and draw with the best odds at Bet365.
Okay, so that rounds it up. Thanks for listening. The next week we have Leicester City versus Everton. The big North London derby, Arsenal versus Spurs. Got West Brom versus Burnley and Stoke versus Newcastle United on Monday Night Football. See you next week.